Alright, so the first thing I gotta do for this next project is make some tools for the lathes. So I'm borrowing this drill chuck for the tailstock because I haven't got mine ordered yet. Here's a Morse taper adapter from number 3 Morse taper to number 5. The problem that I have is this tailstock is number 4, not number 5. So I gotta turn this down to a number 4 so I can use this drill chuck, because that fits the inside. I borrowed this from a good friend, so I'll do that. I'm also going to turn down another Morse taper adapter, and it's going to be number 2 internal Morse taper to a number 4 outside, so I can use all my attachments from the little Logan lathe over there on the big lathe, like the drill chuck and stuff like that. The next project that we will be doing is I gotta turn this piece of brass down for an axle that I'm working on, along with this chunk of metal right there. It's gonna slide in the axle tube and be centered up with this, and I gotta do some welding to repair it, so that'll be coming up as well. So there'll be a few series of doing some machine work here, but I gotta make some tools, and well, you guys will see. So I scrapped the idea of using the taper attachment as being a pain in my rear. So I set the cross slide up for the right taper, but I don't have enough travel on it. So I went to the big lathe and I have it set up for the cross slide, and it's set up and ready. Only problem is my handle's broke. You gotta have this handle. So now I need to take this handle off, make a new one, and then we'll be ready. So here's the quick way how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to reuse the center part. I'm going to take the mill and I'm going to flatten this off. I'm going to drill it and tap it here, and the same on the opposite side where the handles are broke off, and then I'll just get a bolt that'll thread in there and cut it off so I have some stubs to actually turn with. That way I can get these projects going. Otherwise I'll spend all night machining one thing and then it'll just take forever. So I can get it up and going quick and dirty. That's how it's going to happen. So here's the finished part. It's number 4 Morse taper on the outside, number 2 on the inside, and the reason I need this is I've only got one drill chuck, and it's for the little Logan lathe. Well, I need this drill chuck for this lathe for some of the big pieces that I gotta turn. So this slides in there, that goes in there. So now I can use that drill chuck in this lathe. Alright, I'm gonna explain how I was able to cut this part. What I ended up doing, I matched up a number 4 Morse taper, so the live center that I have, I actually chucked it in here like this, and then what I did was I set my cross slide. I took a flat piece of plate between the edge of that and the edge of my cross slide and aligned it up to where it was the same angle. But when I got my angle set for that, I had everything set up with the cutter and everything with the right angle. Then I just ran the cross slide itself to go back and forth, and it kept it on that same angle so I could cut the right angle on it. You don't want to run the auto feed on this or you'll cut it straight, where if you run the cross slide with it at the right angle, you'll cut your angle cut on it. I did have to temporarily fix this with, I just TIG welded some nuts on here, and I had a bolt that I had in here so I could spin it. Let's see, here's my bolt. So this was my rude and crude kind of repair just to be able to use the lathe for now. But this is the makeshift handle that I made for it. It works. It's not perfect by no means, but it got the job done. That's all that matters, and it didn't take me forever. So that's how I did that one. The internal one, I actually chucked it in the little lathe here. I bored the center of it out and got it up to boring it out to this size here, which is what size my tapered reamer is. And I actually had a tapered reamer the right size, and I just reamed the center of it out for a number 2 Morse taper. I could have done the same thing. I could have brought it back over here, and I did set my cross slide up to do it that way, but I ended up finding that reamer and it was a lot easier, so a lot faster, because I couldn't get the, without a quick change tool post, I don't really have any height control, and trying to get everything lined up for a boring bar the right way, there's just going to be a nightmare. So with the tooling that I have, I'm not quite equipped to do what I needed to. However, I do have one of the quick change tool holders on Amazon's cart at the moment, so hopefully that will be here soon. But I'm really pleased with this. It's gonna work out fantastic. Be able to use my quick change or my drill chuck in this lathe until I can get the right one for it. I am gonna get a number 4 Morse taper drill chuck for it, but this is gonna get me by, so I can use that for now. And plus, I'm pretty sure the number 4s don't go down as small as that does. So on some stuff, it will be nice having the smaller drill chuck being able to be used on here. Alright, so I'm gonna get this mill set up and ready so I can cut the flat on that part. What I want to do to start with is take this stone and make sure both of the mating surfaces are good and flat. I don't have a tram gauge yet. I have it on my Amazon shopping cart, so I won't get it trammed in, which it doesn't really matter for the part that I'm making. But before I start making real precise stuff, I do need to get that tram gauge and tram the head in, which I'll go over that once I get the tram gauge. Okay. That down here. We will trim the vise itself in, as far as making sure it's square to the quill, and I will show you how to do that. Alright, so I have the tram gauge set up. It's mounted to the quill, and what we'll do is we'll cross the slide, the cross feed, across the table here, and see how far off it is, and depending on that we'll adjust the vise. And you want to make sure you do this on the fixed jaw, not the moving jaw. That might be a little... Nope, I'm clearing the bolt hole. Now we want to go all the way back and start over, since I tapped it a little bit here. We'll go past. Okay. The little jumps are just little imperfections in it. I did stone it first to take any of the stuff out, but it looks like I've got it trimmed in absolutely perfect. Yep. And that's how you tram a vise in. Now I need to tighten it all down and I can start using it.